Alhamdulillah. Assalatu wassalamu ala rasulillah wa ala alihi wa ashabi ajma'in amma ba'd. Dear brothers and sisters, welcome everyone to another but an exciting talk at 25th Professional Students Global Conference, Profcon. Today joining us, Brother Muhammed Khan from UAE, our esteemed speaker for this session. It might be needless to introduce him to many of us because he has been part of Profcon since several years. He has been a faculty and facilitator for the last several Profcons. However, those who want to know him a little more about him, Muhammad Khan is a motivational speaker and a life coach. He is in the field of entrepreneurship. He is running multiple ventures. At the same time, he is a student of knowledge too. May Allah bless him. He gives public talks, seminars, webinars. He has studied under various scholars from different countries in order to gain Islamic knowledge. He is also the founder of an Islamic social platform called The Right Creed. Today we're going to discuss a very important topic, in search of happiness. Books have been written, articles have been published. Still, many of us are searching on Google how to attain a peaceful life, how to come out of depression, etc., etc. So if you are a person who is in search of the true happiness, then this talk is for you. With that, I conclude my introduction. I just want to remind the brothers, sisters and friends who are watching this at www.profcon.in or our FB channel Wisdom Students or Wisdom Global TV YouTube channel, please share the link with your friends and family so that they may be also benefited from this talk. May Allah bless all of us. Brother Muhammad Khan, you may please start your session.
Alhamdulillah, wassalatu wassalam ala rasulillah wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in amma ba'd. Thank you, Brother Jafar, for that brief introduction. I firstly take this opportunity to thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that after a span of 2 years, now we are here, although from a digital platform with the technology which we have by the will of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and this Profcon is being conducted. If I recollect it correctly, I've been a part of this Profcon team and it's like a family now. For the past decade or so, I've been associated with this Profcon for the past 10 years or so or more. Alhamdulillah, and it has been a wonderful journey. And the brothers, of course, I truly miss the brothers this year. In fact, even the last year, this is now after 2 years. And, every year we meet up with the scholars and speakers, my friends from throughout the globe, the organizers, the volunteers, the sincere brothers and, the sincere organizers, those who put this up. And it is something which I'm missing, but inshallah, let's be positive and hope for the good. And we will, inshallah, hopefully meet the next year. However, the Profcon is here, and I believe everyone must have benefited from the past 3 days. And today is perhaps the last day of Profcon. I believe this is the last session. However, you'll have more sessions maybe after this. But this is a very essential topic, and I thank the organizers again to have selected this topic and have put this here, because this is a very essential topic for all of us. And sometimes we don't just think about it, and we think, okay, this is not a very relevant topic. But then at the end of the day, if we see that this is the primary objective of every human being out there, he is trying to search happiness and he's trying to be happy. Now, if I were to ask a question, basically, who does not want to be happy? And no answer is going to be in the negative. There will be answers which will affirm that, yes, everyone wants to be happy. And that's how human beings are created. That's how our fitra works. We human beings, we like to be happy, and we don't like sadness or depression or things of that sort. We don't like difficulties in life. And this is the natural fitra. This is the natural disposition of a human being. However, if we see that the general concept of happiness which is promoted and the real happiness has a lot of contradiction, has a lot of differences. It's like chalk and cheese, and that's what we're going to discuss, inshallah. But before we delve in the topic, let me tell you a small story, to break the ice and to get into the topic and dive deep, inshallah. There was a man, and he was away from his family. He was earning, making a living, and he one day decided that that's it. Yani, I must go back to my family. It's it. Yani, I've earned enough, and whatever he used to earn, he used to send back to his family members, and he used to be left with some money with himself. But he decided, yani, it's long time I'm away from my family, and I need to go back to my family members. So he decides, okay, I have some money left with me. I'll buy a ticket and I'll go back to my family. So he goes, and this is a journey on the cruise that he's taking. He has some money left with him. He goes, buys a ticket. He leaves some money for buying some food because he knows the food on the ship is very expensive. So what he does, he buys himself some cookies, some biscuits, and he keeps it with himself, and then he starts the journey. Now, it's a journey of few days, 8 to 10 days journey. And every day, this man, when he goes and looks at people, sitting in the restaurant, in the buffet, having this delicious food, he takes out his cookies and he bites onto his cookies and he enjoys his cookies because, he cannot afford that food. Now, days pass by and he's about to reach his destination. All of a sudden, a thought comes to his mind that, okay, now I'm about to reach my home. I'm about to reach my house. And what if people ask me that, how was the food on the cruise? So I cannot lie to them. I cannot tell them, So what he thinks that, okay, I have some money left with me. I'll go to the restaurant and buy the cheapest dish which is there on the menu. So he goes to the restaurant, calls the waiter and gets the menu. And we know in the menu, one side you have the dishes and one side you have the amount. So he goes directly to the amount and then he sees that the amount which is the least. So maybe it's, he orders the cheapest thing, maybe a lemonade or something. And then he tells, okay, bring this to me. So that he does not have to lie and he can tell his family members, that the food was such on the cruise and I had something. So he orders this cheapest dish available, a lemonade or something, like an apple pie or something of that sort. The waiter tells him, sir, today is the last day and we have so many dishes with us. We have this specialty, that specialty. He says, no, just get me this, what I've asked you. And the waiter tries to tell him, sir, you can try this, you can try that. There are so many dishes. He said, no, I want this only because he knows he does not have money. Now, the waiter gets him and he enjoys that meal. Whatever he got, he enjoys that. And then after he's done, he's finished, he calls the waiter and tells him, give me the bill. Where is the bill? So the waiter asks him rather, what bill, sir? He tells, get me the bill, which I had ordered. I need to pay. So the waiter tells him, didn't you know, sir, that whatever is on the cruise is free and you don't have to pay anything? It's included in your ticket. And the man goes like, oh, such a big fool I have been. Now, the moral of the story is that we as human beings in this life have a lot of avenues, have a lot of opportunities, and have a lot of things which we can be happy about, which we can avail, and which we can take benefit of and make our life beautiful, our life and the hereafter beautiful, but we don't recognize it. We don't know about it. We are unaware of it. like this man on the cruise, he had a very narrow perspective, and his own shallow understanding made him think that, okay, this food is paid and it's very expensive. Therefore, he didn't even bother to ask the person that, okay, is it included or no? Similar thing, if we were to apply in our lives, a lot of times, we're just in our ignorance and we don't know what is the value of this life. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given us this beautiful life. We can make so much out of it if we are positive and if we take the route of proper understanding of what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has revealed to us. Now, moving ahead, if we apply the same principle to our topic of happiness, so happiness basically has to be understood with 4 core elements, and this is what I'm going to base my webinar on. 4 basic principles which we must take away from this seminar, this webinar, for us to actually achieve happiness. Number 1 is, if we want to truly achieve happiness, we have to understand the true meaning and definition of happiness. That's number 1. Number 2, accepting the true nature of life. Accepting the true nature of life. Number 3, recognizing the true purpose of our existence. The true purpose of our existence. And number 4, taking the steps towards achieving that happiness. These are basically 4 things which we will be discussing today. And briefly, we will touch upon every topic broadly. These 4 topics, we'll touch on it broadly. Quickly moving to the first one, understanding the true concept of happiness. Now, if we look at Oxford, a quick definition, if you look at Oxford Dictionary, the meaning of happiness is the state of feeling or showing pleasure. A state of feeling or showing pleasure. Now, there is one more word, which is a synonym perhaps, but rather it's a better word to be used, and that word is contentment. Contentment means a feeling of being happy or satisfied. A feeling of being happy or satisfied. Now, when we look at happiness, why do I say that we need to understand the true meaning of happiness? Because there is a problem. There is a big problem. And as professional students, you all know, and anyone who knows the research methodology or who has done a thesis or who has, appeared say for his final year of bachelor's or master's, or anyone who is doing his PhD understands that when you have an assignment, when you have a task, when you have a thesis, or when you have something to research, you need to see what's the problem. Where is the problem? And you identify that problem, and then you solve that problem. Now, the problem here is wrong concepts of happiness, wrong perception of happiness, wrong ideas of happiness. This is a major problem when it comes to achieving happiness or pleasure or enjoyment or whatever you call it. But when it comes to the aspect of happiness, we are bombarded with these wrong concepts of happiness. For example, someone who does not have money cannot be happy. This is a wrong notion which is, given to us, which is promoted in almost every place. So when you look at the media, when you look at magazines, when you look at the social media, when you look at advertisements, when you look at films and movies, and when you look at these things, this concept is promoted that if you have money, you are happy. If you don't have money, you're not happy. And it is shown that the millionaires, the billionaires are the happiest people on earth, which is wrong. Yes, we agree that happiness, money can bring some happiness. It is just a tool. It is just a part which is just one category, you can say, of happiness. But it is not happiness in itself. That is what we are trying to tackle, that having money is not happiness, or having some materialistic things in this world is not happiness in itself. Rather, it could be a form of happiness which Allah blesses us. So say a good car, a prestigious degree, some money, good bank balance, a successful business, a good wife, a good husband, righteous children. These are all forms of happiness. These are all tools, and these are all things which bring some happiness in this life, but these are not happiness in and itself. And that's what we will see. So the wrong concepts which we have, we need to first remove these concepts, that these things are not happiness in and itself. Because what happens is that the consequences of this idea that I have to have money or I cannot be happy, this is a wrong concept. Because if this does not happen, then people fall into depression, then people fall into all sorts of grief and anxiety and sorrow and whatnot. Therefore, we need to remove these ideas that few things in this life bring happiness. No, this is not the idea. Yes, it can bring some happiness, but not in and itself. Short-term happiness. Now, there is one more term which supports this idea of short-term happiness, is instant gratification. And there are a lot of academic researches done on this term, instant gratification. Now, what is this? To satisfy yourself instantly. And in this world of social media and YouTube and TikTok and whatnot, you have this instant gratification when people want to just satisfy themselves instantly and quickly, instantly, gratification and satisfaction and whatnot. People don't have the concept of patience and sabr. People want to satisfy themselves instantly, not saying whether it's right or wrong. It's just about pleasure and satisfaction. And sadly, we see this concept being promoted everywhere. You see in the schools, in universities, in colleges, at workplaces, on media, about satisfying yourself. Don't see whether it's right or wrong, but just satisfy yourself. You must be pleased. You must gain this pleasure. And if you don't have this pleasure of this world, then you are not happy. So these are basically some wrong concepts and some wrong ideas which are promoted and which are bombarded day in and day out. Now, if we also look at some of the societies, some of the movements, where what they do is they put on their spectacles and they try to show people from their perspective whether a person is happy or not. And let us look at some examples. So we see that there is this destructive movement of feminism, which, quote unquote, tries to liberate the women. But at the end of the day, they are causing destruction. They're destroying families. And this is not the time, to dwell into, but just a small example. So from a feminist perspective, when they put on their spectacles and they go and look at women, they try to justify falsely that she's not happy. This woman is not happy. Why? Because she covers herself. She's not happy. Okay. This woman is not happy because she takes care of the children and she is a good housewife. She's a homemaker. She takes care of her husband. She takes care of her children. She's not happy. She must be liberated. She must be put out there and she must be working. Okay, but then you told that if she's working in the house, she's not liberated. But then if she goes out and works for her manager and works for her company and she slogs 10 hours in a day, what is this liberation? So if you see this logical fallacy, when people put their own spectacles to define happiness, someone might go in a village, an educated person who knows technology and whatnot, he might go in a village and see some people who are taking out water from the well. They are farming, they don't have internet, they don't have technology, and they assume and they try to show that these people are not happy, whereas that is not the case. So we have to be very cautious. We have to be very careful, especially in this time and age. where misinformation is widespread. People bombard you with misinformation, and they try to, thrust this wrong ideologies which they have or which they are a victim of down your throat. Feminism and modernism and so many movements and so many of these ideologies are they try to promote their stuff, and they try to make you believe that this is true happiness, whether it be money, pleasure, enjoyment. Another form is that being famous. So if you're not famous, you're not happy. And this is the wrong concept which is given, that, okay, for you to be happy, you have to be famous. And look at these famous people, millions of likes on social media, millions of followers, they must be the happiest person on this planet. And subhanAllah, they are not. They are not. There's so many influencers, Instagrammers who have come out openly, and they have mentioned about their depressed life, their depressed lifestyle. And why is that? We will look at that in a moment. Now, what is Islam's take on happiness? What does Islam tell us about this life, and about a good life, and about happiness? Yes, Islam gives us an in-depth perspective about happiness. If we look at a verse from the glorious Quran, from Surah Nahl, ayah number 97, you can make a note of this. If you are at home, if you're not, go home, open the Quran, read this verse, read the translation, and start implementing this verse for a happy life. And why is that? Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned in the Quran, the translation of which is, those who believe and do righteous deeds, whether male or a female, we shall grant them hayatan tayyiba, a good life, a happy life, a satisfied life, a content life, whatever you translate. The Arabic word is hayatan tayyiba. And this is a beautiful terminology where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is clearly telling us, if you do this, Allah will give you a good life, Allah will give you happiness. And subhanAllah, we are searching happiness in money, in women, in fame, on social media, in these fat books by some Westerner who himself doesn't know about his life and why is he created. But then he's telling people 7 ways of happiness, 8 ways to be happy, 9 ways to be satisfied. And subhanAllah, he himself does not know what is true happiness. Allah mentioned in the Quran, if you do this, Allah will give you happiness. And here we have to remember about a thumb rule. Happiness is not defined by what I say. It's not defined by someone writing the bestseller book. It's not defined by what you think or what you dream of or what your grandmother says or what your uncle says or what my auntie says. No, happiness is not defined like that. It is defined, what is happiness, by our Creator. He knows what is good for us and what is bad for us. And therefore, He defines what is happiness for us. And Allah mentioned how to achieve happiness. You do these things and you will achieve happiness. Number 1, those who believe. Number 2, those who do righteous deeds, whether male or a female. Over here, we see this equality when it comes to ibadah, when it comes to worship, when it comes to worshipping Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, men and women are equal. Whoever, whether male or a female, whoever believes and does righteous good deeds, Allah mentions we shall grant him a good life. And subhanAllah, this is so profound, and this is something which we must work towards. Now, whenever you have something, there's always a concept of reward and punishment, and this is what happens in our lives as well. So in our university, in our colleges, at workplace, you have the system of reward and you have the system of punishment. So if you do this, if you go to university, you appear for your exams, you study well, you pass the exam, that's the reward. You get an engineer, you get a doctorate with your name, and this is the reward. But what happens if you don't take that route? What happens if you don't do that? There are consequences. You will fail, you will be kicked out of the university. Sometimes you might not get admission in other universities. It might disrupt your career and so on and so forth. That's the consequences which you face. Here again, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions about a consequence if we don't take this route towards attaining a happy life. Allah mentions In Surah Taha, ayah number 124, وَمَنْ أَعْرَضَ عَنْ ذِكْرِي فَإِنَّ لَهُ مَعِيشَةً ضَنْكَ وَنَحْشُرُهُ يَوْمَ الْقِيَامَةِ أَعْمَى. That Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions, whoever turns away from my remembrance, indeed he will have a depressed life, and we will gather him on the day of resurrection as blind. So you see, the reward is you work righteousness, have proper iman, Allah will give you a good life. You don't work towards it, you will have a depressed life. And therefore, iman has to be understood, and we have to start working towards it. It's not just saying, I love Allah, I love the messenger, and putting status on Facebook, on WhatsApp, and putting these posters, sharing videos. No, this is not a proof of your iman. Yani you take out some time to understand iman, the pillars of iman. And nowadays, yani, we are having this live conference. It is so easy. You have courses, you go on YouTube, you have so many books, refer to authentic scholars, learn about iman, about the pillars of iman, belief in Allah, belief in the books, belief in the angels, belief in the messengers, belief on the last day, belief in qadr. These are 6 pillars of iman which are very essential. And if you don't have, and if you don't know this, it should be like anyone asks you about iman, and you should be able to respond. Not that you have to ask a sheikh, you have to give a phone call to someone, you have to search on Google, okay, what does iman and qadr means? I don't know. And if you don't know, how are you going to implement it in your life? We don't want you to be scholars of Islam, but at least have that basic knowledge, and it doesn't take time. That basic knowledge of Islam, listening to few courses, doing few courses, listening to few lectures, gets the job done. And amalus salihat, doing the acts, doing the good deeds according to the way of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. We need to check our actions. Is it in accordance to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam or no? Is it, whatever we're doing, is it in accordance to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam or no? Or we're just doing it ritually because our family members do, and just following our forefathers and ending up, gaining nothing. Because it happens, a lot of people, they say, I have iman, I have righteous deeds, but I don't have a good life. Now what? So check your iman, check your righteous deeds. Is it in accordance to the sunnah? Is your iman in place? Because nowadays, sadly, you have a lot of people coming out and say, even justifying shirk to not be shirk, which is an irony. It is a catastrophe. Someone who has, the exposure, people are following him, and he comes out and says that shirk is not shirk. And, and this is the basic, this is what happens, when you don't study with sincerity, and you don't refer to the scholars, and you don't have this humbleness. So sincerity and humbleness is required on part of everyone. And when you seek knowledge, when you are learning, it has to be with humbleness. Now, iman and amalus salihat will give you a good life. Again, going back to our definition, what is a good life? So all of a sudden you think money will start pouring in my bank. I will, have a good car. I will get the best job in one of the multinational companies. I will have the best spouse, and I will have the best children. No, this is not what it is meant. Yes, this is a part and parcel of a good life. This is part and parcel of a good life. You have these things, it's part and parcel. But the scholars have described what is the meaning of good life here. And the meaning of good life here is contentment. Contentment of the heart. So you will be content with the decree of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala as long as you are on this earth, as long as you live. And Allah will make ways out for you out of any problem. No problem will be a big problem for you. And you will have this contentment. You will feel the sweetness of iman. And apart from that, you won't be depressed. So to be upset or feel sad at occasions is not a problem. But to be depressed is not a quality of a believer. And we discussed about depression, a month ago on the same platform of Profcon. They must be having it on their page. You can go and refer to that lecture. It's mentioning details about depression and the Islamic concept of depression. But here quickly we see that if you believe and do righteous good deeds, you will attain true happiness. And that happiness is not just materialistic things. These things might come and you will be happy. You will say, Alhamdulillah, but you will be content with the decree of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah will not make that problem and that difficulty heavy upon you. It might be a death in a family. It might be loss in wealth. It might be loss in a family member. It might be anything. Allah will help you cope out of it, and you will be content with the decree of Allah, because you know the reality of this life. And that's what is our next point. Apart from understanding the true concept of happiness, we have to understand the real nature of life. And I would like to quote Imam Ahmad bin Hanbal rahimahullah here, where he mentioned, be practical and realize that this world is not paradise, and your 100% ease and whatever you wish will be granted in paradise only. SubhanAllah, this is very profound. Imam Ahmad bin Hanbal rahimahullah says, be practical. Yeah, yeah, be practical and realize that this world is not paradise, and you're not going to get everything here. So understand the true nature of life, and you're not going to get everything here. This is the reality of life. You might get some pleasures of this world, alhamdulillah. You might not get. You might be afflicted with some calamities. You might not. So this is the nature of life. But know that Allah controls everything, and Allah does not burden anyone more than he can bear. So you're unable to find a job. Okay, this is a test for you from Allah. You are perhaps not looking at those blessings which Allah has blessed you and which other people don't have, who have a job which you are desiring. You are finding it difficult to cope up with your studies at work. No problem. This is a test for you. But for others, they have different tests. So this is the real nature of life. And that's why we have to understand that, and we have to come out of these movies and these films and dramas, where everything is rosy and rosy. Everything is, happy ending. Everything is achievable in the sense that, you get everything. You get money, car, and, good bank balance, and you women, and all of these things. Danny, this is not life. Everyone doesn't get everything. And to understand the real nature of life, you will have difficulties in life. Just look at the nature of life from your infancy. An infant, his struggle starts from infancy. So he's a small infant. There is struggle to even suckle. There is a struggle then to walk. There is a struggle while he grows up. There is a struggle as a teenager. There's a struggle as an adult. There's a struggle as an elderly person. And until you die, from your infancy until you die, life is of struggles. Now you have to accept that. This is what you need to see, understand, realize, ponder, and accept it, that life is not going to be all golden all the times. You're going to have difficulties. You're going to have good times. All what matters is that you are focused on your goal, and you are focused on the right thing, and you take the right tools, you take the right path, and how you behave and how is your attitude towards those calamities, towards those blessings, is what matters and will bring you happiness in this life. The Prophet ﷺ also said that live in this world like a traveler. Live in this world like a traveler. So perhaps those who are frequently traveling, or even those who have traveled, you know the nature of traveling. Now, of course, many people are not traveling because of Corona, but in a journey, you just take whatever is required and limited. And this is the nature of journey. Not that you pack everything with you and in the whole house, and then you say, you're going to, no, you take whatever is limited from your journey. And another aspect is that if you are very much impressed with your journey, so if you're on a flight in a business class and you're very impressed with that business class, the whole ambience, the food, the seat, and some business class now has luxurious bathrooms, and you have a shower in there. Okay, you're impressed with that. But then what next? You're not going to give up your family and actual home and your property, your possessions, your car, everything for that one business class. You're not going to say, I'm going to live here for the rest of my whole life. I'm not going to go back to my destination. I'm not going to go back home. No, this is not what you're going to do. This is not how rational people think, and this is not how human beings work. So similarly, this life is temporary. This is what we must understand. Whatever we have here, it's very short term. Our ultimate life, our ultimate destination, our ultimate achievement is paradise. Paradise. That's everlasting. And this world compared to the hereafter is nothing. It's just like a drop in the ocean, not even that. And subhanAllah, we need to understand this as soon as possible. The nature of this life is that it is temporary. We have difficulties. Yes, we will get some blessings here and there. Take it, accept it, and thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for that. Whatever comes your way. So you pass in your exams, good. You want to be a doctor, good, alhamdulillah. You become a doctor, you become an engineer, alhamdulillah. Use it for goodness. But if you don't, then know that this is not the end of it. If you want to be a millionaire, if you want to be a doctor, if you want to be something somewhere, and if you're unable to achieve that, okay, move on. If you have put in your best, khalas, that's it. If it doesn't come your way, let it go. Something better will come your way, and this is belief in Qadr. This is belief in Allah's decree. I would also like to mention one thing here, that now we are comparing this world with the hereafter. There was a scientific research done back in the 1980s, 1990s, around that time. And this was an experiment done by Stanford University. There was a professor by the name of Walter Mischel, and he did a marshmallow experiment. So what he did, he got some toddlers, he got some small kids, and he left them in a room alone, and he kept a marshmallow in front of them on a table. And it was told to these kids, if you eat this marshmallow, then you're not gonna get anything. If you wait and you don't eat this marshmallow, if you're patient upon it, then you get 2 marshmallows. And the experiment was conducted. And this is one of the very famous researches done, experiments done. And even till date, it is taught in psychology to students about this experiment. What happened is they left the child in the room alone with 1 marshmallow. Some kids, they just were not patient enough. They took the marshmallow and ate it. Some kids, they waited and they were patient. A time frame was given. If you are patient till that time, you will get 2 marshmallows. And they were given 2 marshmallows, those who were patient upon it. Later on, it was a long research. Later on, when these kids grew up, it was again analyzed between these 2 group of people, those who ate it and those who were patient. Those who were patient upon that situation and they did not opt for the marshmallow, they were more wise, they were more intellectual as compared to the other people who were not patient. And this was a research study done. Similarly, if you apply this example to our life, here we have some instant pleasures, instantly have affairs, maybe enjoy yourself listening to some music, instantly go and have an affair, or maybe satisfy yourself. Look at some websites for some time and instantly satisfy yourself, or wait, abstain from that, and Allah will give you something better in the hereafter, which you cannot even imagine. You cannot even imagine. You wait here, abstain yourself. It's just some moment, and subhanallah, it will be a blink of an eye, and khalas, we are, we might be witnessing our records. And especially in this time of Corona, we see healthy, well-off people passing by. And it's not just because of Corona, it's always there. Allah told us in the Quran, Kullu nafsin zaiqatul maut. Every soul will taste death, and it could happen anytime. But the reality is now we can see someone who was healthy, doing well, within few days, he passes away. And this is the reality of life. Our judgment starts just the moment we die. So this is the thing. We need to understand the true concept of happiness, that happiness is not what is defined by, people who run the show, media, social media, news, films, industry. No, because they're going to give you wrong concept of happiness. Happiness is defined by our Creator, and happiness is contentment. Number 2, the reality of life is that you should know that there is There are good times, there are blessings, and there are bad, we cannot say bad times, but there are difficult times which are not bad, which are also good for a believer. And there are times where you will be a little low. You just have to stick to it. You have to hang on. As they say, hang on and you will see the rewards of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Number three, the actual purpose of life. And subhanAllah, there are books being written. There are experiments being done. There are philosophers, scientists and whatnot trying to know the purpose of our life and the purpose of our existence. Again, going back to the same rule, not my philosophy, not your philosophy, not your professor at school, not your uncle in your family, not my auntie in my family, but our Creator, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. What is the purpose of our life? Very profound and to the point. Surah Dhariyat, ayah number 56. Allah mentions in the Quran, وَمَا خَلَقْتُ الْجِنَّ وَالْإِنسَ إِلَّا لِيَعْبُدُونَ, that I have created not the jinn and men except to worship me. Now, when we know this concept of our life, the purpose of existence, every difficulty will be small and we will truly achieve this happiness and we will have the sweetness of Iman and we truly will be happy in our life irrespective of the situation. If we are on this route to achieve the purpose of our life. Allah mentions, وَمَا خَلَقْتُ الْجِنَّ وَالْإِنسَ إِلَّا لِيَعْبُدُونَ, that I have created not the jinn and men except to worship me. Now, what is worship? In case people and students get a wrong concept that worship means to go into the jungle, to leave my job, to leave my studies and start chanting the name of God. No, this is not worship. In fact, this is haram in Islam. This is not worship. Worship means to do everything what pleases Allah and to abstain from whatever displeases Allah, period. In short, we don't have time. In short, worship is to do all what pleases Allah and to do all with this and to abstain from all what displeases Allah. This is worship. So when you go to university to attain a degree, you do things which pleases Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You don't engage in affairs. You don't go shake hands with the female students. You go study, come back, no problem, earn a degree. But then you abstain from whatever displeases Allah. You don't stare at women. And this is where you are engaged in worship. Similarly, don't have affairs. Don't go to campus and don't start following these punks, who are smoking, who are into drugs and who are into all types of haram things. And stay away from them. You are, inshallah, engaged in an act of ibadah. You are engaged in an act of worship. Get married, as you all must have seen. There was a session dedicated on marriage. Getting married is also ibadah. Having righteous children, upbringing children is also ibadah. Serving the husband, taking care of your family members, of your parents, this is also ibadah. Earning halal income is also ibadah. So you take the roots of achieving your purpose in life to worship Allah. Whatever you do, be a successful businessman, be a successful doctor, be a successful engineer, no problem. But it has to be within the purview of Islam. It cannot be, I have an exam and I'm going to miss my salah. This is what is reprimanded, what must be reprimanded. So you are in your university enjoying and it's time for prayer. And you say, okay, let me just give it up. I will pray later on. This is wrong. You have to try and work out where you can fulfill this obligation of ibadah. Similarly with the sisters, you cannot say, okay, I'm wearing hijab here. I go to the university, I remove my hijab. No, this is not hijab. Hijab you do every time at every place. Not just part-time hijab. We're not part-time Muslims, but it's required all the times. So we see that Islam does not discourage us from achieving our goals in this world, but make sure you don't focus your whole life upon this one specific goal. I want to be a doctor and that's it. My salah, my ibadah, my family, my parents, my character, my knowledge about the deen, everything on the side, I just want to be a doctor. No, this is wrong. One of your goals is to be a doctor, but then you do everything. Allah has given us human beings the capacity to do multitasking. So it's not just that you can only do one thing. That's not the idea. Yeah, some part of your life might be having some focus on a specific thing, but that's not the thing, because at the end of the day, you're not going to have time anytime. If you make that excuse, so now I'm at school, I don't have time to learn Islam, I don't have time to learn about Iman, and I don't have time to do this. Now I'm at university, my exams are tough and I have to study my research and everything. It's too hard. I don't have time. Now I'm getting married. I have to take care of my wife, my children. I don't have time. Now I'm old. I'm sick. I cannot walk. I have to take medicines. So, yeah, if you want to make excuses, you're going to make excuses for the whole of your life. Allah has given us the ability to multitask. That's how the Sahaba were. They used to work, but their focus was the hereafter. That's what is required. Our focus, our goal has to be hereafter. And in our life, we have to have things on a daily basis, on a practical level, which reflects that, yeah, we are working towards the hereafter. Not that just in Ramadan or just during this Profcon, we learn about Islam, we learn and then it's closed. And after 1 year, we think, oh, now, yeah, we have to, think about Islam. No, that's not. On a daily basis, there has to be something in your life apart from the obligatory things where you're working hard towards the hereafter. How you work hard to get a high pay, how you work hard to get admission in a prestigious university, how you work hard to pass your exams. You have to work hard to attain that hereafter, and that will bring true happiness in this life also. Now, quickly moving ahead, before we conclude and we take some questions, inshallah, steps towards achieving happiness. First, as we discussed, the primary and the most important is Iman and Amalus Salihat. So if you don't have proper Iman, if you don't have Amalus Salihat, for you to achieve happiness is impossible. It's not 50-50 or 75-25. It's impossible. You won't be happy in your life, irrespective of having the money and fame and whatnot. Iman, Amalus Salihat. These are the primary conditions for you to achieve happiness. Number two, get out of the fake world. Get out of the fictitious understanding of happiness. These PlayStation and Android games and computer games, which give you a wrong concept of happiness. And then you have these movies and dramas, and you have these influencers, Instagrammers, whom you follow, and then you think these people are happy, and for me to be happy, I have to do whatever they're doing. No, this is the wrong idea. Come out of this fake world and face the world, face the realities head on, and that's what makes you a strong human being and a strong believer. You must know the realities of life, that what are you doing here and what is this life all about. Point number three, a very important step for us to be happy and attain that contentment is be happy and be positive in whatever situation you are. So we saw globally, when this pandemic was on the rise, people were dying and losing jobs. There were a lot of people who went into depression. There are a lot of people, who became very negative about life. Yani, no, you don't have to do that. You have to be positive about your life in whatever situation you are in. You have a sickness, say Alhamdulillah. What can you do about it? You take the means towards curing that. This is one thing. You take the means, you make dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and then expect that Allah will give you the cure, will give you shifa. Or the second thing is, you sit and you keep nagging and you keep nagging and you keep nagging, you keep complaining, and nothing happens. So logically also, if you see, there's a fallacy. And you complaining and sitting and complaining doesn't bring anything. What you have to do is take the proper routes of the cure, whatever it is. It's a sickness, it's a financial issue, it's whatever problem you're facing in life. You take the route and you pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and then be positive in whatever situation you are, and know that Allah will give you something better out of it. Thank Allah and Allah will give you more. So what happens is, again, before we conclude, this is essential to mention. What happens is, we always look at people and then we try to define our happiness and whatever Allah has given us. So a sister might look at another sister and see, oh, she has a good house, she has a pious husband, she has righteous children. I don't have these things. Yani, she doesn't look at what problems she has, and she doesn't look at what blessings Allah has given her. If she does this, the nagging will altogether go away. And Allah has given her health, wealth, iman, family. The Prophet ﷺ said, whoever, the mafhum is, whoever gets up in the morning, has shelter, has food in the house, he has like everything in the world. So the problem which we are facing is on a global level that we are ungrateful. And this is what Allah also mentioned in the Quran, that human beings are ungrateful. We are ungrateful and we don't recognize the blessing which Allah has given. Let me be practical here. Bring to me any person, okay? Because I want to back what I'm saying. I don't want to just put it out there as a theory, but I practically back this, and I can, practically handle this. Bring to me a person, a human being from this planet Earth, who has problems and who claims that he is the one who has all the problems in this life and he's not happy. I will show him 10 people or 50 or 100 who are facing more problems and who are in severe problems than him. Bring any person, whatever problem, financial, psychological, medical, any problem in life. He claims he's not happy. Bring him to me, or just message me. Let him talk to me, and I will show him another 100 people who have more severe problems than him. There are more than that. I'm just giving it as a metaphor. Thousands of people out there, who might be worse than him. So this is what we have to understand. You can in no way say that I have all the problems in life and I have faced so much and I have gone through so difficult times. This is wrong, and this is not good on part of a believer. This way, if you have this nagging in you, Allah will never give you that happiness. You will never feel that happiness and contentment. If you're always nagging, oh my, this is like that, or my car always breaks down, or my teacher is like this, my professor, my mother is like this, my father, my siblings, they're always fighting. Appreciate, be positive, and thank Allah for whatever you have. And this way, Allah will give you more, and you will feel this contentment, and you will be happy about life. I don't have money, I don't have a car, I don't have this blessing. No problem. I have other things. Look into my life, look into your life, and see, recognize, identify the blessings of Allah, and thank Allah for that. This is very essential, very crucial when it comes to happiness. So happiness is not like a pill, yeah? And I hope everyone here attending the session were not expecting that we give you a pill, you eat that pill, and whoa, it's happiness all around. That's not how even medicine works. There is a process. So someone is diagnosed with diabetes, he has to go through a process. Abstain from all sugary foods, abstain from sweets and chocolates and biscuits. The doctor will suggest you. Now, takes insulin if you are required to. Do some walking, do some jogging, eat healthy food, do not consume. And there is a process. It's not just that you take a pill, that's it, cured. And this does not work in any way, shape, or form. Well, that's how even happiness works. For us to achieve happiness, we have to take these routes and we have to abstain ourselves from certain things. Last but not the least, be focused on your goals, be focused on your responsibilities. So as a human being, Allah has given us a purpose of life. All human beings have a purpose of life, and we are supposed to be focused on that. We're supposed to fulfill that purpose of life. Be focused on that. Whatever you're doing. So you have a focus. I am supposed to worship Allah, and this is my yardstick. Whatever comes, studies, marriage, work, business, I'm going to judge it according to the yardstick of the Quran and Sunnah. Okay, business opportunity, is it halal or no? A spouse, potential spouse, is she according to the Quran and Sunnah or no? Or is he according to the Quran and Sunnah or no? Okay, I'm studying at a university. Am I indulged into something haram, or everything is what I'm doing is permissible? So you judge everything, and that's how you're focused on your goal of worshipping Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Apart from that, you have to identify your roles and responsibility in this life. And that's what will bring you happiness and contentment. And this is again a major problem which needs a lecture in itself. Once we recognize our purpose in life, we also have to recognize our roles and responsibilities. As a man, there are a few roles and responsibilities. You are head of the family. You're supposed to provide to your family. You're supposed to bring food on the table and financially provide to your family members. As a woman, there are roles and responsibilities for a woman, and Allah has given us these roles and responsibilities as per our nature. So as a woman, it's her responsibility to take care of the family, to take care of the children, to take care of the husband's properties. And whatever skills Allah has given you as a man, as a woman, you're supposed to use that. But when it comes to your roles and responsibilities, you have to identify. If you're going to mix it up, if you're going to jumble it up, so the man becomes a woman, the woman becomes a man, there's going to be chaos. You're never going to be happy. The man starts behaving like a woman, and the woman starts behaving like a man. There's no concept of roles and responsibilities. No matter whatever you do, no matter whatever you try to be that, happy-going person, you try to be that, person who superficially is happy, you will never achieve happiness. You have to identify your role, you have to identify your responsibilities, and you have to fulfill that, and know that fulfilling this will bring contentment and happiness. And with this, I conclude my session, and I pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant us happiness in this world and in the hereafter. And we are supposed to make dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala on a daily basis, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant us goodness in this world and in the hereafter. Allah's Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam frequently prayed, Rabbana atina fid dunya hasana wa fil akhirati hasana wa qina azaban nar. That, oh Allah, grant us goodness in this world and goodness in the hereafter, and protect us from the punishment of the fire. This is a dua which is a profound dua of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, which he used to make, and this will bring us happiness and contentment in this life. Wa sallallahu ala nabiyyina Muhammed wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in.
On behalf of the entire Profcon fraternity, I would like to thank you for making such a wonderful lecture, and it was very informative. Inshallah ta'ala, it's going to reflect, it's going to make an impact on many of our students and people who are going to watch this in future through our YouTube channel and our Facebook channel. So we're going to take up a few questions that we have received. One brother has asked, I agree with everything you said, and I really want to be an ideal Muslim. But whenever I see my friends go for cinemas, musical parties, etc., I feel how happy they are living, and I get jealous of them. Ultimately, my mind starts to change. What should I do? Hope it's clear.
Well, yeah, it's very clear, and it's a very good question. And we want people to put forward these questions. Now, quickly, I'll give you 3 points. Okay, number one, what I mentioned, the definition of happiness, the wrong concept and definition of happiness. Who told you that they are happy, and who told us that going to a cinema will bring happiness? Okay, so this is something which you need to understand, that this is not true happiness. And that's the reason. Let me give you an example. Robin Williams, one of the most famous Hollywood comedians, not just an actor, but Hollywood comedian, who used to come on the stage and make people laugh. And people used to think he's the happiest person on this earth, and he's making people laugh. He's not just pretending to be happy or expressing happiness, but he's making people laugh. In 2015-16 perhaps, he committed suicide. Why? He was in severe depression. And I'm not telling this, out of nowhere. I have friends who have repented this lifestyle. In fact, my friend, a good friend, Abu Musab Wajdi Akkari, he had a session here in Profcon, I believe a couple of days ago. If you go on YouTube, check out his story. He was a rap artist. He was with these punks, and he thought this is happiness. That's what he thought. And subhanallah, he repented from that lifestyle, and he quit music, he quit all of that, and now mashallah, he is not only a da'i, he is successful, barakallah, in his worldly job. He's successful and he enjoys his life. So you need to find avenues. Again, there are 3-4 places or avenues of entertainment which are just instilled in our minds: movies, music, women, and this is all what we think is happiness. No, if you tell me, sit with me, I will show you another 10 to 50 avenues where you can enjoy yourself. Go hit the gym, work out. Who says if you're a practicing Muslim you cannot enjoy yourself? Go to the gym. You like football? Go play football with righteous people. You like games? Go play halal games. You like to play cricket? You like to play these things? Go do that. Enjoy yourself. Work out. You want to play some mind games? Play those mind games. And entertainment is also not only about games. You want to go trekking. You want to go on a long drive. You want to go explore the nature. There are so many avenues. Why do we just think that going and sitting in front of the screen and watching movies is entertainment? No, that's not the case. So I request this brother that come out of this false notion of happiness and enjoy yourself with righteous brothers. Firstly, change this set of friends. Yeah, and I say this period and blanket. Change this set of friends, because friends play an important role in your change. So if you want to change, you have to change these friends, because the moment you want to change, you will always see, oh, he's smoking, oh, he's talking to a girl, he's enjoying himself, oh, he's watching movie. So this is gonna set you back, and this is gonna stop you from changing and repenting. Go meet good brothers, find good friends, and explore the avenues of halal entertainment. And inshallah, do let me know. You can message me on Facebook and let me know, inshallah, what have you explored, and I would love to provide you assistance, inshallah.
Barakallahu feekum. Another question. I was in a dark world, but now I changed. I do my maximum to be a practicing or ideal Muslim. But my parents are not happy with my beard and dress code, etc. They always tell me that you are a young and it's time to chill. I don't know what to do now.
We chill a lot with this beard. Trust me, it's extremely chilling and it's extremely wonderful. I would ask Brother Jafar, do you feel? Are you unable to chill with the beard?
No, I'm able to.
Yeah, of course, we all are. Again, that was my primary point in defining happiness. So who said that if I clean shave, I'm going to be happy? And the moment I shave, all the chilling stuff comes in. SubhanAllah. This is again, so there is a lot of cultural baggage which people have, and we have to accept that. See, we as professional students, as academicians, as researchers, we have to have a broad perspective, and we have to be open-minded. Like, who says this? In fact, let me give you one research that there was a research done. Of course, in Islam, we keep a beard for the sake of Allah, and this brings us happiness. Allah commanded us. He's our creator. He knows what is good for us, what is bad for us. He commanded we keep it, khalas. But there is a research done. People with beard, they are more happy than people who don't have a beard. And this is not done by Muslims. This is a Western research. So now you have these brands, okay, famous brands, multi-million dollar companies, which are beard products. You just go on Google, type beard oils or beard products, and then show it to your parents and tell them, look at this. The world is changing now. Non-Muslims are keeping beards. Non-Muslims are promoting beards. Celebrities are sporting beards. So what's the problem in me having a beard? I can chill with them. Whatever is halal, chilling with your parents. So we have to deal with parents, in a critical way, because parents are sometimes or most of the times difficult to deal with. But then we have to remember that parents are our gate to Jannah, and we have to find our ways in dealing with them. So tell them, okay, you want me to chill? I will show you that I can chill with this beard. What is it that you want me to chill? Okay, let's go have some swimming at the beach. Let's go shipping. Let's go fishing. Let's go boating. Let's go to a farmhouse. Let's enjoy ourselves. Let's go. Yani, what do you want me to do? Whatever halal option your parents tell you, do it. Do it immediately. And tell them that, see, I can chill with my beard. And try to show them, try to tell them that this is what I'm doing for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is what I'm not doing, because what happens is you don't want to fight with your parents and show them. That's not what is required from us, that you are grumpy and you start fighting with your parents. No, chill and show them more love and more respect, that a practicing brother, a practicing sister, a practicing Muslim is more kind and more courteous towards his or her parents, even if they are not courteous to you, and even if they're not practicing. You are supposed to be nice and kind to them, but don't obey them in haram. So they tell you shave, no. They tell you commit shirk, no. They tell you remove the hijab, no. But you reject it in a kind and polite manner. Not, going about shouting at them and screaming at them. No, this will spoil the whole thing altogether. And inshallah, you will see there have been occasions where scholars, speakers, du'at, and I myself have personally experienced this. Try to be nice, try to be polite with your parents, and try to show them the truth in a nice and kind manner, and they will accept it. And it will come gradually through time. You have to be patient. That is one of the qualities, which we discuss, and it's a quality of a believer. You have to be patient in your da'wah, and Allah will bless you in that. I hope that answers the question.
I heard all your speech and I got the points. But when it comes to practical mode, I forget most of them. So can you suggest me or advise me with a single thing which if I hold tightly, I can change myself?
Okay, very good. What you can do is, I'll suggest you two things. First is, this is recorded. This lecture is recorded. So you can simply go to Wisdom TV or Wisdom Facebook page or Instagram and simply watch this lecture again. That's number one. Number two, what you mentioned, that you need one pointer to hold to it. Start gaining some knowledge about Islam. This is what I would suggest you. Start gaining some knowledge. Find some avenues. Dedicate one specific time, not maybe 4 or 5 hours. Say 1 hour in a day. Just 1 hour in a day. 15 minutes maybe read translation of the Quran. 15 minutes watch a lecture. 15 minutes go through the tafsir. Read some hadith. You will see the change, and you will not need anything else, for yourself to find that happiness. Yani dedicate one specific hour, one specific time for the sake of Allah to gain knowledge, because it has to be through knowledge. Yani, can you imagine a medical practitioner just goes out there, he says, I have the skill and I want to be a doctor, and he starts operating on people? No, you'll say you have to go through a specific syllabus. Similarly, when you dedicate your 1 hour or some time in a day learning about Iman, learning about taqwa, learning about the Quran, you will see that this Iman will increase and increase, and you will increase in righteous deeds, and that will increase you immensely in happiness. So that 1 hour on a daily basis, inshallah, dedicatedly, and you will see the change, inshallah.
So we have to conclude this session over here because we are running out of the time. So before we end the meeting, I just want to reiterate 2 points. One thing which already been mentioned by Muhammad Khan. 1 month ago, we had a session by Muhammad Khan himself, that how to deal depression Islamically. So that lecture is already there in our page, Facebook page, Wisdom Students. Just go through it and watch it for more details. And also, our Wisdom Global TV has many lectures that has been happened in previous Profcons. There are wonderful lectures to give more information, to give more important topics. So that will be a good asset for you. So I'm going to thank everyone out there, and I thank Brother Muhammad Khan for coming up with such a wonderful lecture, and I thank everyone who joined us in this session. and those who are going to watch this lecture in YouTube, which we want to publish today itself. So, jazakumullah khaira. Subhanakallahumma wa bihamdika. Ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta. Astaghfiruka wa atubu.
Wisdom Students presents To the Right Goal Through the Right Path. Let's Profcon. Profcon. Professional Students Global Conference.